What is up, guys? Eric here from Real Film Reviews, bringing you another movie review, this time for the newest video game adaptation, Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed stars Michael Fassbender, Marion Cotillard, Jeremy Irons, and is directed by Justin Kurzel, who recently did Macbeth, which also starred Fassbender and Cotillard. This film is an adaptation of the classic video game franchise, which has now existed for a while and has had a ton of sequels and different spin-off games, and it's basically the story of the Assassins versus the Templar. The Assassins are this secret gang of soldiers who basically fight against this big organization known as the Templars, who are trying to find this thing called the Apple of Eden, which is supposedly the apple that Eve took a bite of in Eden. And this apple contains man's first original sin. It contains what we did to become evil and gain free will. So it also contains the way to take that back and control a person's free will. The Templars want this so they can control the world. The Assassins don't want this. The combat of these games is the biggest aspect of it because you play as an assassin. You are a person nowadays, 2016. You lay down in this machine called the Animus, and it takes you back based off of the DNA you have and puts you into the body of your ancestor, who was fighting, say, in 1492 in Spain during the Spanish Inquisition, which is where this film takes place. This is an original story not based on any characters that actually existed in the games, which I think was a mistake because they would have had a very solid base to do that, where this feels a little more jumbled. But the combat of the games is based around an assassin. You assassinate people. You have like a hidden blade on your wrist, you jump down, you kill people, all this stuff. It's very interesting, it's fun, free roam, parkour, climbing around, jumping on stuff. And that's the one thing I think this movie got right. It very accurately depicted the action from the games. They're running around, they're jumping rooftops, they're balancing on ropes, they're killing people with hidden blades. During the fighting, the actual combat, it's very rare when they are on the offensive. It's very much counter-based, which is how the combat in the games was. If you fought someone that had a sword and you only have a dagger, you can't be on the offensive, and I think that this movie captured the combat from the games very well. The scenes inside the Animus in this movie are beautiful. Everything taking place in the 1400s. It looks great. All of the setting is really good, and the chase sequences that take place in there are really good, and that's the strong point of this film, is what takes place inside of the Animus when he is an assassin. The performances from Fassbender and Cotillard and everyone in the film are fine. No one really blew me out of the water. They're all very talented actors, so none of them did a bad job, but they all just did all right. And that's because the big issue with this film is all of the scenes that take place outside of the Animus. Just for reference, I also do want to point out one big difference between the game and the movie, and that's the machine itself that puts them back in time. In the game, I'm going to put a picture up for you guys. It's just a table. It's a table or a chair that your character would sit down in, and then he would be sent back. However, in the film, they for some reason decided to make it this massive machine that projects what he's seeing around him with lights, and it's kind of weird and a way too much of a set piece in the film. It's unnecessary because I think it sort of takes away from what we're seeing back in time, because they do this very awkward thing where they cut away from us watching Fassbender's assassin relative in the past fighting against soldiers to then him just attached to this Animus fighting nothingness in this room. And it's really weird because I only really care about seeing the assassin fight. I don't need to see Fassbender fighting nothingness in the real world. And as I said, the scenes outside of the Animus are where the problems come for this film. The script is paced okay. There is a decent amount of action to slow to action to slow, but the problem is the slow feels so slow, like we are learning nothing that is pertinent to the story we are learning about. These characters are part of a big organization. They're scientists. That's who Cotillard's character is. She's a scientist who runs this to try to find the Apple of Eden for the Templars. And her character is basically just a bunch of science jargon and exposition. That's all she does. She does not get built as a character, really. Neither does Jeremy Irons. Michael Fassbender's the only one that even sort of does, but they rely so heavily on him going back in time, and then when he's not back in his assassin form, we really don't get to learn that much about him, so it's hard to really care about him as a character. The Assassin's Creed games are built around fun, fast-paced action, and this movie sort of loses that. It tried really hard to be almost a historical drama partially, because it takes place in the past, so I think they wanted that vibe to flow throughout the whole film. But it just didn't have that fun, entertaining aspect that a video game movie should have. That's not to say this is the worst video game movie ever. Far from it. This movie is loads better than majority of video game movies that have been made, but I think that it just made the mistake of bogging itself down with all of this exposition and storytelling that we didn't need as much of. You do need to give us that exposition. If we don't understand the story, it's going to hurt the film. That's what happened with Warcraft. Warcraft didn't explain enough. This movie explained too much and it made the movie too slow and boring. So they needed to cut some of that and add more action. Put us in the Animus more. Let us see more of that fun Assassin's Creed parkour action that we wanted to see as fans of the game series. I'm going to give Assassin's Creed a C+. If you're a fan of the franchise, you'll probably enjoy this film a decent amount. I didn't hate it. I thought it was okay. It's not as good as I was anticipating, but I also think that it will get a sequel, and if they learn from their mistakes in this one, the sequel could actually be a very interesting and good film. Well guys, as always, I'm Eric. If you enjoyed this review, please do like, subscribe, comment down below what you thought of Assassin's Creed, share everything we do here on Real Film Reviews, and hope to see you guys later.